I'm gonna go ahead and throw the drums back on, order parts tonight, and as soon as I get here, I'll slap them all together. Oh, and the exhaust pipe, because that's the whole reason this whole mess started. On today's episode, it's more repairs on my four-door Cherokee. I started doing the muffler because I thought I had problems with it, and it led to neutral safety switch adjustment and fixing brakes, because everything I own requires extreme maintenance on brakes. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. Let me know what you want to see. Thanks for watching. So I was heading down to try to heard this. I think my muffler took a crap. The vehicle had about an hour and a half to cool off, and I figured I'd come out and check for the muffler. And it's gone. So I unfortunately left it somewhere on the road. I've never had that happen to me before. Yikes. I'm gonna have to adjust my neutral safety switch selector. I didn't have it adjusted right apparently because it's throwing a code. That little guy is our neutral safety switch. I have another video where I completely go over removing and installing it. So definitely go check that out if you need tips. I'm gonna pull the tangs back, loosen the 7/8 nut. And there's a 12mm bolt head up there. I'm gonna pop that free. It should allow me to move this little guy around and hopefully get rid of that check engine light. The tangs are free, the large bolt is free, and the 12mm is free. Hopefully I will be able to wiggle this thing around, get it in a couple different positions, and keep trying it and hopefully clear the code. I went ahead and adjusted the neutral safety switch. I'm gonna clear the code and see where we're at. I've got everything tightened back up. The little tabs are cinched back over. I'm gonna go ahead and do the exhaust and I'll take it for a test drive. Worst case, I'll have to readjust it. I'm not sure where it needs to be, but I don't want to get this exhaust any hotter than it has to be before I start working on it. My muffler finally came in for the Cherokee. I went and got a couple pieces of pipe and some clamps from O'Reilly. This is the part number and the information. It's a center inlet, side outlet. Let's unbox this bad boy. This is the same muffler I have on my Comanche. It's basically a knockoff Flowmaster 2-chamber muffler, but it's about half the price. It seems like a decent bill of quality. And it comes with stickers. This hanger did break off of the exhaust tube, so I'll end up having to have that fixed or replace it. Might just replace the whole tube, but I can at least get the muffler in here for now because I do have things I have to do next week. First thing I'm going to do is see about chipping or grinding this weld off. I'm also going to see if any of the pipe I have just fits over it. So the adapters fit right over the tube, right up to this weld. I think I'm just going to be able to grind this off, or at least knock it down a bit with a flap disc on the grinder. It'll definitely go on far enough now. This little bit of a ridge might actually help me retain it when I put the clamp on above it. It should give me kind of a ridge to help hold the muffler on if it ever wants to wiggle loose. Let's get the muffler on. I've got around 1 inch of pipe inside the muffler, so that should be acceptable. I always like to turn the clamp to the side if possible to get it away from the ground. Zip them up with the gun and try to draw them in equally and crush the tube equally with the ratchet. Should be good. I'm going to go ahead and pull the hanger now since I have access to it. Just saw something else I'm going to have to fix. Show that to you in a minute. There we go. Lubrication makes these parts come out much easier. I was going to try to order a replacement tailpipe, but I've gotten crazy prices locally, so I'm going to see what I can do to reuse this part and get a just universal hanger bit for it for now. In Rock Auto, they're about $30, probably $50 with shipping, and locally at AutoZone and O'Reilly, they've been anywhere from $80 to $120, and I'm just not going to spend that for this car, at least not if I don't have to. The thing that I just saw that I'm likely going to have to fix is it appears that my driver's side rear wheel cylinder is leaking. Before I cut this tube down, because I'm afraid I might not have enough length, I'm going to grind some of this off and see how well the couplers fit over it for the other pieces of pipe. The measurement from the tailpipe to the muffler was about 7 inches, so that's what I cut this bad boy at. We'll clean it up, see how it fits. I'm gonna try some things, I'll be right back. I figured I'd give a shot to loosening this back clamp on the tailpipe. Yeah, it loosened. Let's see if we can get this in here now. It's not connected to anything. To get the tailpipe slid all the way into the muffler, the exit ends up down below the gas tank, what it should be over between the muffler and the leaf spring. So I think I'm going to see if I can flip the muffler over, even though that's the orientation it should be in. Might give me some advantage. If not, for now I'll just have to run a turn down just so it doesn't leak all the exhaust in the cab. I just held the tailpipe up into the proper position and it won't work with flipping the muffler. I'm going to end up having to get a replacement tailpipe. There's just too much of it broken off to be able to ever put it back in there correctly. I'm going to take it for a quick spin around the block to see where I'm at with the neutral safety switch. Let's see what it sounds like without a tailpipe and only a muffler. As soon as I check on a neutral safety switch, I'm going to get it turned down and hopefully a wheel master cylinder for this thing, because I needed this next week to go to a couple appointments on the other side of the state. Well, thankfully it does appear that my neutral safety switch is corrected, at least for the time being. It might show up again as I'm driving more. I might have to readjust it. Good Lord, this thing vibrates like a tin can without a tailpipe on it. I would love to say that getting this turned down in was super simple, but it doesn't. That should work temporarily till I get the actual correct tailpipe in. Let's pull the wheel and see what shape the brakes are in. I'm gonna have to get a brake spoon and adjust the shoes in to pull the drum off. If you see a leak coming from the bottom of a drum like this, it's generally a good indication that the wheel cylinder is leaking. I'm gonna pull this little dust cap off here that'll allow me access to the spring so I can wind it back, and I should be able to loosen the shoes and take the drum itself off. Oh, and I'll get that in a second. You stick the spoon in here, you find the star wheel, and you start rotating it. I'm pretty sure I'm expanding it, but I'll know better in a minute. I'm going to give the drum a couple love taps and hopefully break it free a bit. I don't doubt it's probably somewhat welded to the axle stub, but also these shoes can wear inside here and leave a ridge in the back that's very hard to take the shoes off with. That's not great. I'm going to spray a little penetrating fluid in here and around each of the lug studs. Should help a little bit. Worst case, I'll put a little heat, try a little more of the star wheel to back off the shoes. Just hit her with a bunch of PB Blaster and I'll start smacking it. Oh. It's actually quite a bit easier than I expected it to be. Wow, those are glazed. I'll get you in here for a better look. Your brake pad should not look like a glazed over oil slick. You can see the junk build up in the back and all the wet from the fluid leaking from wheel cylinder itself. So this is what you don't want to see in a high mileage vehicle. And this is what they should look like. Even pad wear, a lot of dirt and dust, but that's to be expected. I'm gonna go ahead and order a complete kit, drums, shoes, springs. I already have a wheel cylinder because I was hoping that was just the only thing that was wrong. I don't like replacing all the parts on a high mileage vehicle, but it's the right thing to do, especially when everything is in this bad of shape. It's just easier to replace it than to try to clean it and repair it. So apparently when ordering shoes for the Cherokees, they're either going to be 9 by 2.5 or 10 by 1 3/4. Mine appear to be the 9 by 2.5. I'm going to go ahead and throw the drums back on, order parts tonight, and as soon as I get here, I'll slap them all together. Oh, and the exhaust pipe, because that's the whole reason this whole mess started. My parts for the Cherokee come in, so let's open up and see what I got. I ended up buying a whole kit. It's a complete set of pads, drums, all the springs, washers, all the components basically. There's my pads. Drum. Another drum. The most important part of a Rock Auto order, the magnet. So all the springs and all the other components should be in here, I'm hoping. Springs. It's a full set for both left and right. All the springs, cables, washers, and adjusters for both sides. And the shoes. Ooh, more springs. And the tailpipe came in for the exhaust, which is great because I need to put that back together as well. I just threw the sticker from where I'm sitting over and hit the door and it landed perfectly. I should have been filming. Let's check the drums out and make sure they're the right ones. They certainly appear to be. Let's see what the tailpipe looks like. It's mostly round. The much more important end is round and hangers in place, so this should go on relatively easily. Another free magnet. I highly doubt I'll get this one to land over there, but I'll give it a shot. That would be a no. Our old drums say a maximum diameter of 9.06 inches. Our new drums say a max diameter of 230 millimeters. I'm not sure what type of coating, it was just simply a paint or not, but they painted everything, including the inside surface of the drum. So I'm just gonna tape it off and give it a really gentle Scotch-Brite, hit it with some brake clean. I'm just gonna dust it with black just because I want it to blend in. But whatever this coating is, hopefully it should be pretty good. I'm not sure, I'll have to do some research and see if I can figure out what it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and start pulling the pieces of the drum apart. I'm pretty sure this is not going to go all that smoothly. I don't doubt I'll have absolutely all the time in the world to let the paint dry because this is probably going to be a problem. I'm going to go ahead and take all the components, the shoes, and all the other pieces off before I start worrying about the wheel cylinder. I'm likely going to have to heat the line up to be able to pull it free. I do have a replacement line, but I'm hoping I don't have to use it. It's a stubborn little thing. Really a stubborn little thing. This little guy is the cable that works the arm for the self-adjuster so that when you back up, it adjusts the shoes out. I should be able to show you more of that when it's not covered in yuck. That's gross on a biscuit. This is the bridge with a spring on it that keeps tension on both sides of the shoes at the same time. I'm going to try to keep all the parts together so that I know how it came off. Even though I do have a reference of the other side, I'm not going to take that off till I'm completely done with this side. I'm going to go ahead and hit everything up with brake clean and just try to get all this grime off of it. Then we'll work on getting the wheel cylinder off. Assuming everything goes well, be able to slide back together pretty quick. That is a lot of yuck. Cleaned up quite well. I'm very, very happy with how well this all cleaned up. You can see how bad this wheel cylinder is just by simply pushing on it. I went ahead and wire brushed off the fitting that goes into the wheel cylinder. I'm gonna hit it with a couple of heat cycles and cooling cycles to try to break it free. So I'm fairly sure this thing's gonna want to twist. I did the same thing for the brake bleeder screw in another video. I'll link it above. That was better than I expected. Oops. Sorry about that. Now hopefully with this freed up I can actually get this stupid line off without it turning into a curly cue. I put the catch pan back underneath. I took it out when I had the flame because I don't really want a bucket full of flammable liquids underneath that blowtorch. There we go. I don't have a proper cap for this, unfortunately. It's not going to stop it completely because it's not quite the right thing, but it'll definitely slow it down and give me a chance to clean up the last little bit of this, compare the wheel cylinders, and get the new one in. This is what came out of the Cherokee. This is what they gave me. Biggest difference is in the overall size, the size of the area that fits through the backing plate, and the location for the brake line that goes into the cylinder. So it's off to O'Reilly's to return the wheel cylinder and get a new one. I ended up having to take the wheel cylinder back and go to AutoZone because they actually have one in stock. O'Reilly's didn't. That is the correct wheel cylinder, so let's get going. I'm going to go ahead and blow the wheel cylinder out as well, just to make sure there's nothing in it. You want to make sure that the bleeder screw's on top. These things are always fun to try to start threading in. At least it didn't fall in a bucket of yak. Now it did. I should be able to start putting everything back together now. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the wear pads, or the rub pads, with NSS. Wish me luck. I have something to wipe off, because God knows this stuff gets everywhere. I am gonna have to reuse the crossover bar, so I cleaned it up. Part of why I bought this kit is that it comes with all the springs and all the assemblies except for that crossbar. It looks like the adjusters for the star wheel are different from side to side. That appears to be the only difference. All the springs and everything else are the same. So I'll pull this apart and see where I'm at. So this thing's frozen up pretty good, but I wanted to make sure which direction the adjuster turned. It's a left-handed thread. If you back it up, bit on threads. So this is the proper one for the driver's side. I'm going to throw a little NSS in the threads because I don't want it to get jammed up like the old one did. The shoe with the smaller size material goes to the front. The shoe with the larger size material goes to the back. Driver's side, the side with the pin, goes in. Sorry, I got that wrong. I forgot it's not like this. It's like this. It's still in this, so this pin is going to be out on the driver's side. Pretty sure I have that on wrong. Of course, there's no guarantee it's on here correctly on the old shoe. They are on the same. Might just be the difference in style. So we got all my springs laid out, matched spring to spring. These pieces, that spring, cable piece, that spring to spring. That should be good to start slowly piecing this together. So these pins come in through the back side and they fit into these cups. So basically what you're gonna do is, as you compress them through, you rotate the spring and it captures them. And this cable is around the back. It'll hook into this piece that's on the shoe and come down to the star adjuster. And the spring fits on the transfer bar. I'm going to double check on the other side to see which side this little ear comes on and if this dip is in the under or over. This ear on the parking brake actuator arm slips in to that piece on the rear shoe. The bar goes up, this piece goes down. That sucked. Get that in a minute. There is a trick to doing this, and I cannot freaking remember it. I'll try to show you the other one. It's yeah. I hope I actually put this on correctly. Sorry I couldn't do a better job of showing you how everything actually goes on properly. It's been too long, and I'm just too out of practice at it. We'll go over how this basically wants to lay out. You want to make sure that the half moons on each of the shoes are inside of this pin between this back part on the backing plate and this divider. You want to make sure that the eyelet for the cable is behind both of the springs. You want to make sure that each of the springs are in the appropriate eyelet hole. This is the front one. You want to make sure that the transfer bar is into the slot on the drum shoe and the spring is in the proper position. You want to make sure that the piece that actually is designed to go in and sit on the piston in the bore is in the proper spot on the wheel cylinder, both front and rear. You want to make sure the cable going down to the star adjuster is in behind the bracketry on this slide pin, that it's in place on the hole in the drum shoe, and the spring is in the proper place retaining it. You want to make sure these retainers are in there correctly as shown. You want to make sure that this cable and spring assembly goes into the arm that adjusts the star wheel. You want to make sure that this spring is in the proper place, keeping tension between both of the bottom of the shoes. You want to make sure that this long spring arm is around the pin correctly and on the arm for the star adjuster. This is also important to be in the right place. There's a cutout in this arm. You want to make sure that this arm is on the star wheel and provides tension as you roll it. And that's basically the drum brakes. Now that the driver's side is done, I'm gonna go ahead and blast through the passenger side. I'll try that snap thing. Hold on, keep trying it maybe. Yeah, I think it worked. I'm gonna go ahead and manually adjust the star wheel. That'll give me a better chance of getting these to be tight without having to fiddle with them to the back. There we go. But that'll be a good place to start, and then I should be able to simply adjust it by reversing the vehicle and pumping the brakes. I'm gonna throw the wheels back on it, take it for a spin, see where it's at. I bled the brakes, but the camera didn't want to record it. So. No leaks at the fitting or the bleeder screw. I'm going to go ahead and install the rubber plugs in the spot for the star adjuster. Well, as you can probably tell from the sound, I still need to fix the muffler, but I'm going to go ahead and take it for a test drive, see if I can burn the brakes in a bit. Drive around my 700 other cars. I have 6 cars at the moment. I will be back with you guys in a bit. Well, so far it went pretty well. Just backing into the driveway. I'll do the muffler tomorrow, and then hopefully I'm done. Hopefully I'm done for now. Now being, like about this long. My neighbor has some construction projects going on, so there might not be a lot of audio on this video. I'm going to go ahead and take the turn down off so I can start getting the full length pipe in here. So it looks like my best bet is going to be to forego this hanger. I've still this extra piece of pipe in there. I've marked it and take it apart, cut it to size. I'm going to cut it with about 1.5 inches longer into here. I've got it marked here so I know where it's going. I'll get 2 more clamps. I'll end up getting a universal hanger for this so it takes the weight off. There is a hanger back there which will help support it for the time being. I think this is going to be my easiest way to get this thing done today. I'm going to tighten them down by hand, and then we'll verify everything's clear and tighten down the back as well. We've got good spacing around the frame, away from the leaf spring, and good clearance up and over and in front and behind the axle. Let's see what it sounds like. Not bad, definitely an improvement over the no exhaust. Overall, this is a win. Unfortunately, like many things, this turned into a lot more work than I expected. I expected to do one thing and it turned into three. The next couple of videos will be a mix, and then I'm going to go hard into taking this thing apart, which you can kind of see I'm already doing. Using the parts for my Rambler, which is behind, well, it's in front of me, but you know. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you want to see. See you soon.